The lack of self-awareness from Destiny never ceases to amaze me. This guy is a retard's interpretation of a smart man. Because he talks quickly, and because he raises his voice, and his meth jaw goes back and forth like a typewriter, people think this guy is intellectual, that he is good at debating, and he's just not. It's observable that he's not. And the fact of the matter is that this guy, he thinks that he's witty and clever because he makes jokes about dead Christian girls during the flood in Texas. He thinks that making jokes about the dead firefighter at the Trump rally makes him, oh, I'm just so far above, the common commentators, perception of politics. No, this guy's just an asshole. And he's a freak. And there's a reason why there's not a single person that would trade lives with Destiny. This guy is a cock-sucking cuck. He's somebody that his own family hates his very existence. And to add insult to injury, he was in an open marriage. And the wife still left him for somebody that didn't have more money, didn't have more fame, and wasn't nearly as influential. And she still left him for somebody else. So now he's coming on to talk about Asmongold and give his take on Asmongold. Now, his first mistake in this is that he doesn't correct the chatter and say Asmongold's not MAGA, because the chatter comes in and says, I don't know what happened to Asmongold. When did he become a MAGA commentator? Let me tell you something. As somebody who has supported Trump for many years, as somebody who is actually a Christian conservative, Asmongold is not MAGA. He has never been MAGA, and he will never be MAGA. And you know why? Well, first of all, he doesn't trust Trump. He thinks that he's a serial liar and that everything he says is a lie. Second of all, and I find that remarkable that he thinks that about Trump, but not about Bernie Sanders. That's crazy, because my view is inverted. I think Bernie Sanders is the serial liar, and I think Trump tells the truth more often than not. I think Trump is one of the most transparent presidents we've ever had. I think he tells the truth about things that people are shocked that he tells the truth about. I think Trump tells the truth way more than he lies. I just think that people hate him so much, they just want to call him a liar because it feels good in their moment of catharsis to try to tear him down. But yeah, this is a guy that supports Bernie Sanders, which is shocking to me. It's one of the most indefensible things that Asmongold has said, that he supports Bernie. He supports this radical anti-Second Amendment, anti-free speech communist. Bernie Sanders should be in jail, not in the presidency. But also, you listen to Asmongold very recently, he said that if you make over $5 million, 70% of that should be taken away. That is an immoral and indefensible statement. Taxation is theft. And what Asmongold is suggesting here would absolutely kill businesses, because successful businessmen, what they do with the money that they bring in, they reinvest into the business, or they put into, investments that they then take and put into the business. So either it's directly going into the business or it's going into investments which go back into the business. But Asmongold would say, no, take the money that you would invest into your own business and give it to the government so they can spend it on LGBTQ Sesame Street in the Middle East. So no, Asmongold is not right-wing. Asmongold is not MAGA. He is a deeply left-wing person that has common sense on a lot of different topics that don't have to do with left-wing politics. For example, immigration. That should be a nonpartisan issue. And it used to be. But now it is a partisan issue, and Asmongold has come on the correct side of that. There are certain positions that he has that are more right-wing in nature, but he's not right-wing. Again, you would have to be to the left of Mao to look at Asmongold and go, that guy's a MAGA right-winger. You're crazy. This guy is an atheist. This guy agrees with Hassan Piker indefensibly on a lot of different things. And my point in saying this is that I think that it's important to keep things in perspective. The type of people that think that Asmongold is right-wing are so radically to the left that they think that anything short of supporting terrorist groups that attack Israel, that is you being a Zionist. Like, we're talking about people that are so fringe and so freak and so radical, like Destiny, joking about dead, drowned Christian girls in Texas, or the firefighter that was shot at the Trump rally, and him saying to his audience, "If any of you go to a Trump rally and die, I'm going to make fun of you." Like, these are not normal people. These are fringe, radical freaks that are being asked to comment on people that are not as far to the left as they are. They're still on the left, but not as far to the left. And this is the result of radicalization and, frankly, being somebody that wants a monopoly on the far left movement. These people purely test others out of the group because they want to be the person that individuals turn to. That's part of it. And in doing so, they make more enemies than they can imagine.
Destiny, probably a dumb question, but how did Mr. Asmongold blow up into a political influencer MAGA dude? I swear the last memory I have was him doing lazy reaction videos. You know what politics are kind of like? Because everything is like everything else in the universe. Politics is kind of like LLMs, okay? So Asmongold is a pretty, when I say somebody's a smart person, Asmongold is a pretty smart person, and that he's like a good LLM that can parse stuff and then give you like interesting takes on things and can reasonably sort through stuff to give you just like a, you know, like an intelligent person going through stuff. But the same limitations that exist with LLMs also exist with people that do online politics, and that if the data set is dog shit, then the answers are dog shit. So the problem you run into is people like Asmongold are above average intelligent people, but they get tricked by their own intelligence, and they think that intelligence is a substitute for factual correctness, and they assume that they can just sort through a plethora of information and come to the correct conclusion without taking the time to sanitize the information that they are deriving their opinions from, basically.
So I want you to keep that in mind, what he's talking about here. Sanitizing the information. So basically, you look at the data, and you should, for political reasons, be a retard activist like Destiny and take key bits of information and remove that in order to come to your conclusion. That's what he's talking about. Sanitizing pieces of information that are inconvenient. That's what he's talking about. That's what he's advocating for. That's what Destiny does. Framing things to create a narrative. Asmongold looks at the data. And he looks at the information at hand, and he comes to a conclusion based on that information. Now, a lot of people resonate with that because they see the same information and they come to similar conclusions. Not on his communism or support for Bernie Sanders, but on things like the border. Destiny cherry picks certain things and then tries to craft a narrative off of those cherry picked things, the sanitized information. And he thinks that is the appropriate way to do it, that you need to sanitize information. You can't just look at the numbers. You can't just look at the stats. You can't believe your lying eyes. You can't believe your lying ears. You gotta basically, plug your ears, jab out your eyes, and then, you can come to the right conclusion on the left. But the reality is that Destiny is in no position to be giving lectures on politics to anyone. There is no one who respects Destiny in the political space. Because this is a guy that has joked about drowned Christian girls and people dying at Trump rallies. This is a guy that has been wrong about everything. Everything. From Andrew Tate, he's been wrong. COVID, he's been wrong. I mean, I have not once heard Destiny talk about a political issue or a cultural issue or a social issue and had him be right, not only in the short term, but in the long term. Like, look at his own marriage. Like, you want to emulate that for your life? You think that that guy is the one to be giving advice where his own son hates him? You think that that's the guy that you should be looking to for advice? That's why I'm saying more people gravitate towards Asmongold, because he at least lives what he says, for good or bad.
is the issue. So Asmongold has always been kind of like a logical thinker, smart dude, played video games, huge audience from there. And so people would like to hear his takes on things. But the problem is he's absolutely epistemically retarded. He doesn't know how to discern like a good piece of information from a bad piece of information. But if you give him a bunch of bullshit information, he can throw it together in a way that is entertaining and quote unquote logical, valid.
Who determines what's good information and bad information? The meth-brained, degenerate, cock-sucking cuck gremlin that's been wrong about everything. He's the one that decides. And that's a problem. That's why more and more people are tuning out of Destiny and not really resonating with his message, because he thinks that he is the arbiter, but he's in no position to judge anything. When you're as wrong as often as he is, you think that you would do some self-reflection, but no, this guy has only gotten worse. And if anything, Asmongold is a better representative of the left than Vosh or Destiny or Hassan. But he is of the left. Make no mistake, he's not right-wing. Asmongold is not right-wing, not in any way, shape, matter, or form. He's just not. And I think that you need to be honest about that. He's not right-wing. He doesn't claim to be right-wing. His politics, when he actually talks about it, universal basic income. Like, when you go down the list, he is not right-wing. Now, there are things that we agree on. Like, for example, I think that pedophiles should be crucified as well. And I'm not being hyperbolic when I say that. I think that on the lawn of the White House, we should bring that back for people that diddle kids. There are certain things on crime and the border and immigration that Asmongold and I agree 100%. But that doesn't make me left-wing, it doesn't make him right-wing, it just makes us aligned on these issues. But he's made his position perfectly clear. He doesn't particularly like Trump. He doesn't trust Trump. He has said that he thinks that Trump may have done something on Epstein Island. That he needs more information, but, with things as they are, he sort of put it out there that, yeah, maybe I kind of maybe believe that a little bit. I don't believe that at all. I'm a Trump supporter. I think it's ridiculous. I think the whole thing is ridiculous. So, I think that is my litmus test. Are you a Trump supporter, or are you MAGA, or are you somebody who's more on the left? Well, Asmongold is more on the left. It's observable. You can't say I would vote for Bernie Sanders for president in the future, or he's too old, but I would still... No, you either are somebody who's a right-wing Trump supporter, or you're a Bernie supporter that supports UBI and abortions. Like, all of the stuff that right-wingers are opposed to, Asmongold supports in practice. And I think that's important to point out. Now, Destiny got called out by Asmongold, and maybe that's why. Maybe that's why Destiny had his little impotent crash out. But
they cried and
I do think this is an interesting clip.
I think they think that you need an extremist platform in order to win elections. But what you really need, I think, is just extremist messaging. I think that's what you need.
That's an interesting way to look at it, but I think you can just look at the way people responded to his comments. I mean, again, Destiny has tried to help the Democratic Party. You ask yourself, is it really a good idea to do something that's going to get you alienated from the people who you are, kind of on their side? I think you can just look at the responses to the tweets and the amount of people that are talking about it, and you can see whether it was a good idea or not a good idea. It seems very, very obvious it was a bad idea.
Our motto is...
And, there it is. Destiny's wrong here. Well, I don't think that it really serves his interests. I don't think it serves his goals. I don't really care about the jokes or, making, edgy comments. Destiny and I both have been on the internet probably 25 years. I'm not getting my feelings hurt.
There's a difference between a dark joke and in the middle of a crisis, in the middle of a situation, making comments about how God wanted these little girls to die during this flood, as you're still not sure if they're even dead or not, people are still looking, to go on the internet And to make a quote unquote joke about that, not only does that not help your political cause, it reveals to me that you're a subhuman piece of shit. You're a demon. And this is the same guy that joked about the guy who died at the Trump rally, the firefighter. Now, it could be envy, because this firefighter had a family that loved him, and he was actually productive, and he wasn't some emaciated, pathetic-looking twink that looks like his body is this malformed, weird, like, stick figure from, like a comic. But this guy died. He was shot and killed at a Trump rally, and Destiny's take was, I'm going to make fun of this guy. It's good that he's dead. I mean, if you are that fucking retarded that you don't understand that is a benefit to no one, then why should anyone listen to you when you go on to talk about shit here? Not to mention the fact that you're a guy that sucked cock on video. You're a guy that sucked cock on video, Destiny, and put it out there. It's fucking disgusting. But you and Vosh and Hassan, you're all peas in a pod. You're all just different version of the same sickness. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank you for supporting the channel. And I'll see you next time.